to the trip. It is, what is it? It's Monday, December 11th. I'm smiling because I don't want to cry, but say hello to everybody. Mr. Tom, how are you doing?
Oh, I was last in, so I thought I was.
I was just going around in a
fine.
clockwise order. That's
Hello,
all.
everyone. Hope everyone is well out there in Radio Land and on the panel and all these things. I'll just come back to me. I'll think of something. It's fine.
No problem. Mr. Tony, how are you doing? You want to say Mr. Tony, but that doesn't. You don't get Mr. Sorry.
Why don't you get Mr. Tony?
You don't get Mr. Tony. I'm sorry. It's not that. It's not that kind. No, you're not there yet.
One thing you definitely don't do, you don't get Sir Tony. I hate being called Sir. Always have. Always will. But anyway, haven't felt good all weekend. Gotta continue today.
Yeah.
Lost 8.5 pounds. Going to the bathroom today. Yay!
So what did he do? Did I not? I don't want to think. I think I missed what he said, and I think I'm okay with that.
Did you shit a person?
I shit out like a baby.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't want to hear. All right, that just.
I didn't say that. I didn't.
No, you just said it. You said whatever you said. You didn't say.
I said I lost 8.5 pounds going to the bathroom.
I kind of said it. I said it.
Yeah, but then he backed it up and confirmed it, and I was like, no. Anyways, let's move on. Stan, how are you doing?
I'm good. Hello to everyone, and a special hello to Sir Tony. Hope you're doing well.
Sir Tony. So that's going to be his name from now on because he hates it. I like it. Sir Tony, it is. Doesn't like it. And last but not least, we got Spencer in the house. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Yeah, just a run-of-the-mill Monday.
I hear you. Well, we got. I'll go through the chat real quick because I see.
I hate huge boobs.
You hate huge what?
Oh, no, I thought if we're doing the thing where we say what we hate and then it gets thrown at us.
No, you're not going to get that one because that just sounds stupid.
No, it's just.
That just sounds really stupid. I'm sorry.
I have a hard time believing that with the wrestling stuff.
All right. Yeah. No, I was just gonna say I was looking through the chat and hopefully he'll come back. But Stephen out in Canada, he joined us. He said he's given up football, or at least watching football for a bit. Not enjoying what he sees. I think you know what. Sometimes you just need to step away from those things that don't give you joy. And I hear you. I hear you. If you want to step away from football because you need it, I think that's the best thing. We'll be here. Some of us we all handle it different ways. I've gotten crazy on sports for a while now. I think I'm aged now, so I don't let it get to me too much these days. I'll talk about it.
I think that's the thing where you're a fan for so long, and just after a while, you kind of get used to the disappointments and the highs and lows too. It's just kind of like.
Yeah. No, I've been a Gator fan for at least 34 years. Because you guys talk about your Arsenal fandom. Like when I went to college there, I was a fan, and so I've seen them kind of struggle to get up there, get to the top, and now they're sitting not where I would like them to be. So it's hard to watch them. So yeah, I get the spending money every year for football and then not enjoying it. Big Scun is in the house as well. So yeah, I'm gonna say, Steven, do what you got to do. We'll be here. We'll fill you in on all the good and the bad that Arsenal's going to give us. So, yeah. So, let's get into it. I'll put the rest of the comments up from Steven, but it sounds like he's enjoyed our chat, but he doesn't like the pompous Lord Greenwood. I don't think Lord Greenwood cares. You know why? Because he's a lord. He just doesn't care about the little people. Bastard. Anyways, let's move on. Everybody.
Did everybody hear that?
Nobody heard it.
Yeah, no, I heard it. Did that come out of Gary's mouth?
No, it wasn't. It was Stan. I'm going to say it was
That's a quid
Stan.
in the swear jar, I think.
Yeah. I know
Put a
Stan
quid
can
in the
do
swear jar.
voices, but I didn't know it was confirmed that he had your voice, Dan.
There you
Damn
go.
that.
Yeah.
And not only can I do voices, apparently I can throw it as well.
There you go.
Yeah.
Big Gunner, welcome to the show.
So,
Yeah, Sam
cla-
Greenwood,
class for continent.
the cousin of Lord Greenwood. Yeah, I got my man Matt is in the house as well, checking us out.
I missed you,
Steve
Matt.
loves Lord Greenwood. Yeah, but he said he doesn't. So welcome. So here we go. Yeah, I think Sam liked that. Yes, he did like that. So there you go. And I get a thumbs up from Sam. It's a good thing. So let's get into it. Good weekend for one of us. Bad weekend for most of us. We'll start with the good.
Whew.
We'll start with the good.
Whew. Sorry,
So-
I'm doing it.
so
Doing it now.
For all those that had a good weekend, talk to us about it.
Oh no, I couldn't possibly.
I just asked you to.
All right. But basically, Blackburn out-possessioned us, but did fuck all with it, and then we scored twice. It was really good. I mean, our performance wasn't really good at all, but we got the 3 points. And I know you go by performances over results, but when I want to get into the Premier League, I actually kind of need results more than performances,
I hear
because
that.
that's what gets you there. But still, yeah.
Does
I'm
it
actually
really
more
matter?
interested. Sorry, what's
Does
that,
it really
Tony?
matter when you're getting games every 3 or 4 days? Isn't it just kind of more of results anyway?
Well, yeah, because it's brutal.
Cool.
Come
Cool.
fast and quick, and
I noticed he's no longer Pat. Anyway,
Uh.
I'm more interested
ask
to know
Mr.
what
Tom
you
a question?
gentlemen made of
'Cause I think-
Saturday's.
What's that,
Sorry,
Stan?
go
I said, can I ask Mr. Tom a question? Because I think he'd probably know the answer. And it just made me think there when you said Blackburn. And every time I hear
Yeah,
Blackburn, I always remind myself, oh yeah, they won the league once, and they had Kenny
They did.
Dalglish as their manager, and Alan Shearer was playing for them. I know that Jack Walker was the main proponent of putting money in, the local businessman that owned them, but why did they fall away? Once they managed to get themselves up to the top of the mountain, was it because of Jack Walker's death and the new owners, or what happened there?
My understanding, because obviously their initial relegation after winning was it like 4 years after they won it, I believe, off the top of my head. But they sold Alan Shearer for a world record fee, and how do you replace Alan Shearer? But they didn't even come close to replacing Alan Shearer. Obviously, 15 million went a lot further in those days, but still, it's not like you're getting a world record fee now where you can basically buy a new team, sort of thing.
Right.
I think it just comes to poor recruitment, poor man. Because obviously, when Dalglish left, just went tits up. I mean, this is just spitballing. Like I don't factually know, but I guess it's a combination of not replacing the world's best striker at the time, arguably, and maybe. I don't know.
Cool.
Good question, though.
All right.
Good
Cool.
thought.
So that was our lead segment for the show.
It didn't help
No?
also that the
Not over?
Champions League run, they went out the Champions League very
you
early,
still had chance
including
to
a
ask
fight
question.
at half time between their own players. Not half
I remember
time, during the game. Yeah, David Batty and
David
Graham
Batty.
Lasso. Punch
Yeah.
up, yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't relevant to anything, but
I hear you.
Spencer and I did talk about your Sunday afternoon
What?
in the Broncos.
What? What?
You said
You're
we
not
don't
allowed to
talk
speak.
about our.
I should mute you because every time you no. What? We didn't come here to talk about anybody's team because we want to talk about anybody's team. We talk about my team. All right. My team had the good weekend. All right. You really want to talk about NFL? Talk about the team that had a better weekend. All right. All right. So let's move on.
I won on the NFL this week.
That was excellent, Tony.
I didn't ask you. You're not supposed to answer him.
I was going to keep it short and sweet.
There was a game that finished 3-0.
That is crazy.
Those poor Minnesota Vikings fans having to sit through all that.
It's not even like there's a worse game than that one that's in history. College football. That
was the score. Three
Tech,
goals to nothing.
Yeah.
That was the score.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech beat I think lost to Wake Forest or beat them 6-3. It was 0-0 at the end of regulation in 2014. So it can get brutal. I can only imagine going to sit there and watch. I mean, wanting to watch the Raiders in general would be kind of like
Wasn't there a
best
six?
part of
dry
it-
out, but
Wasn't there a
best
6-3 game last weekend as well?
it was a
Yeah, I
6-0
think it was a low
game.
score.
Yes, yeah, there was. Tony's
Patriots
right.
and Chargers.
The best
Yeah.
part of
Take
it,
a
that
good book. You
3-0
should take a
game.
good
Sorry,
book
and
with you.
I promise I will not ruin any more of the show with this nonsense. But I actually, on the spread, did the team that lost 3-0 plus 3.5. Winner. Yeah, sorry.
All right, let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit more about actually what we all came here to talk about anyways. It's been a couple of days, so if you haven't talked about it, we'll get to talk about it now. I always talk about performance over result, and I'll say this: the performance I saw is what I'm hoping we continue to do in terms of some of the play we had. We got to hopefully improve on certain things, clinical finishing, but in general, I think I like the fact that we were able to essentially keep them at bay and give ourselves more chances, even though we still got to work ways to go with that. But I like to say we get better each game. So for me, the performance is what I was looking for. The mistakes seem to be part of our DNA. Missed chances seem to be part of our DNA right now. So I can't, so this is what I see. So I can't be too upset about it, but this is what we're doing, right? This is what Arsenal's given us right now. Hopefully we improve from that. Everybody talked about Zinchenko, and the man did not let us down. And he may not have been the one to give up the goal, but he definitely helped break down, helped basically kill our defensive positioning, and then it just fell down from there. And multiple people didn't stand up to the test. I think some will say Gabriel Margules or Ben White didn't do their job, and Ray, of course, didn't do his job. But it started with a little breakdown from the up high with Zinchenko for me. So, Sir Tony, talk to me about the game.
Yeah, like you said, the performance was better, but at this point of the season, I don't really care. I want the points. We keep saying we're talking about being clinical. We've talked about it for a year and a half now. We're just not clinical enough. One clinical person again on the bench. I think Trossard should be out there instead of Ty. But what the hell do I know? It's in Oklahoma, talking to you guys. But I think it could have been better. And on the defense, it's hard for me to throw Gabriel under the bus when Zinchenko is up forward because we don't have that person dropping back to protect him. So at the start of the season, it's why Timber did good. And it's why I guess Party wasn't doing that great, but we were stopping at a certain point of the field. And now we're just throwing balls out like we did last year, running up into pass the striker like Zaka did last year. To me, you gotta have you gotta put Zinchenko where he can be either conservative or you just put him in the midfield, put somebody back there at left back, and go that route. We got the players to do that. If we really have to, we can go with the back three because all our center backs have played part of the back three for their country, so they know how to play that. People call for double pivots and all that. Just put three good defensive players back there and don't have your left back going all the way to the goal and having nobody to fill in there.
I hear you. Let's go into the chat real quick. One thing I will say is that for me, the fact that we have Kai and Trossard means we actually have two players that both can start and both will rotate in and out of the lineup. We only have that at Trossard and Ramsdale in terms of other players that I see part of what I call rotation, which I think is where we stand right now. We don't really have any good numbers behind our starters, and that's a problem. We've seen Kai actually get better, and I think coming in and out of the lineup has helped. So, got Moss joining us. Welcome to the show. Miss Melina is in the house. Welcome, welcome. Everybody saying hi to Miss Melina. And so, Stan, talk to me. Tony went through a lot there, but yeah, the game will tell me.
I agree with a little bit of what you were saying, Gary, that the way that we played the game, I thought we played quite well, but we looked a little bit toothless up front. And I think that when we have days where both Martinelli and Saka aren't really at it, there's not really much to come on from the bench to replace them. You know, you look at the bench and you've got Eddie, maybe Reece Nelson, Trossard. We don't really have talented backup as a Man City does when they can look to the bench and you have you got Jack Grealish sat on the bench who cost 100 million. You know, before that they had a Mahrez who could, you know, come off the bench, do something, and ordinarily could probably be starting for every other team in the league. And we're missing a little bit of that because we've created a lot of chances. We should have been able to have grabbed a couple of goals, but we just couldn't finish our dinner on that particular day. And that's going to be a problem for us going forward. And I'm one of the ones that definitely thinks that we need to add another striker, but that doesn't mean it has to be at the detriment of Gabriel Jesus. I think that the way that we're playing now, with Havertz almost playing as a second striker, you could have Gabriel Jesus playing in that position because he does go deep and find the ball. He helps out defensively. He's good at creating chances. He can chip in with a goal and assist here and there. But if we had him maybe working around a more prolific striker, I think it could be a good combination. And I think that, you know, when a lot of people hear the argument about getting a new striker, they think it's at the detriment at Jesus. If we bring in someone else, then that's going to marginalise him in some way, put him on the bench and he'll be unhappy, or we have to sell him. I don't think so. The one that we should be looking at selling is probably Eddie. So I think that if we can fix that area, and yeah, Mr. Tom there, if we could fix that area, and I think if we had another wide forward that could play in more than one role up front, it would give us more variety, say in the way that Liverpool have when they can bring on a Gakpo or a Jota, to give them a little bit more variety. We're just missing that for me.
Yeah, and like you said, to me, you can always move Jesus out to the wings and still start him if you want to. Give Martinelli or Saka the rest if they're struggling.
True.
That's right, Sir Tony. You can do that.
Go back to the chat real quick here, and then we'll continue on. Chris Nix joins the show, and for some reason, Chris Nix joined us early, very early on Saturday. For some reason, I'm not sure why, but I've seen him now. This is second day now. I've seen him. He's happy for some reason. His team had a good weekend. They did what they needed to do and sit top of the table. Mom's in the house. Welcome to the show. Yeah. Yeah. Killer Kai, you guys going over Kai here. So, yeah, Mom's happy to see everybody in the house. Great. Yes. Yeah. All right. So let's get into it. Now, one thing that you said, and one thing that you talked about the bench, and and Spencer, I'll let you talk about the game, but also we've got a lot of players. I think I've counted off 6 players that if they weren't on, like, they might as well not be on our squad, and we'll get into that. But we've got at least 6 players on our bench that, why are they here? And I'll let we'll talk about that, because in terms of when Arteta does look to the bench, what does he see? Because he doesn't see anybody he wants to bring on, and if he does, it seems like he brings them on too late. So Spencer, tell me about the game.
Well, we were watching some highlights here and watching Odegaard miss what should have been the tying goal in the 58th minute. It's just kind of disappointing. I kind of expected a draw out of the game, to be honest with you. So losing the game obviously definitely definitely was more disappointing than what I expected out of it. But I know people have controversy with how the handball went down and the refereeing and stuff like that. But we are seeing a little bit more attacking, and I do agree with Stan on someone has to step up if Martinelli and Saka don't have it. The good news is I did see the team that's being sent to PSV looks like a pretty strong team. And I saw Smith Rowe's name was on the list of players going, so maybe he should be readily available again, which will give you another option on the bench.
Was that a triple handball you're talking about?
Yeah, that thing. Yeah, so just disappointing. I'm kind of already thinking about PSV, to be honest with you, Gary. I've kind of moved on. Hadn't really watched anybody's stuff since then about it. I saw Ryan today talking to James Rowe, but I kind of just went Arsenal silent for a couple of days.
Yeah. This is how you deal with it. I like talking about it because I'll be talking about the PSV game when that comes up. So we all handle it different ways.
Ryan doesn't talk to James Rowe.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? It's just James Rowe talking the entire time while Ryan just
when
sits there
James
and goes,
talks, you want to listen, though, right? Man's got lots of
I'm not saying he doesn't know his stuff. I'm just saying there ain't much talking from Ryan.
He does like questions, though.
Yeah.
I used to ask him questions.
Yeah.
Ryan just sits there and takes it all in.
Yeah. Yeah. So, as Big Gunner says here, we lost, but we're starting to see what hopefully is a promising Arsenal career from one Kai Havertz. He's looking better and looking more comfortable out there. As you say, we need to get going in that front line. They need to start scoring and contributing more on a regular basis. I mean, as bad as it sounds, Saka is doing at least all he can. I mean, the man's got double figures, goals and assists, and that's pretty good. Yeah, Spencer, you said you're expecting a draw. I hear that. I feel like we're good enough to get a win there, and we played well enough to do that. When you don't do the little things.
I agree with you. I just think coming into it, I thought we were going to get a draw until I saw us actually play the game. Then I think a win was probably what we deserved out of that, but definitely dominated them. It's a different performance than, of course, what City did against them earlier in the week.
True.
So there's a very good team we have. So, it's just unlucky. In the refereeing decision, I'm not trying to turn it into that, but how you don't see that it hit Cash, you're not going to call a penalty on them. I mean, it is what it is. But if Odegaard puts his chance away, it doesn't even matter.
True, that's the key. But like I said, I haven't brought it up the VAR or some of the decisions because basically I'm of the opinion we're never going to get what we want, and definitely with Arteta speaking out and now getting suspended, there's no way we're getting any call.
Nope.
I mean, the man called handball from outside the box, through a player and through the back of another player. So obviously he's got X-ray and stuff. So.
I did hear this hand 3 times, so he might have had the time to smell it, Gary.
What? It happens really fast, and I'm talking about looking through 2 players, essentially. So, like I said, he's got really good eyesight. But he didn't see the elbow from, Carlos Diego, all these things he didn't see. So, didn't see the foul on the other player. So, you're talking about his eyesight being really good, but not being really good. What I'm saying.
Selective eyesight, as they like to say.
But like I said, you guys brought it up. I don't need to bring it up because I feel like that's not why we lost.
Or the fourth official.
We needed some help, and if we need help.
Fourth official just informed him that it hit his arm.
Why do you think you lost, Gary?
Why did I think we lost?
Yeah, you said that's not why we lost. Why do you think you lost?
I think we lost because we didn't we didn't finish our dinner. Got to be clinical in the box. I mean, that's what that front line is paid to do. They're paid to put the ball in the box. Erdegaard is paid to, when he takes those shots, to score. We had more than enough chances to score, at least 1 goal, if not 2, for sure. You know what I mean? To guarantee a win. Everybody's got to do their job. I don't think the defense let us down. We had a 1 blip. Somebody needed to stand up. I always say this. One player needed to make a move, and nobody did. You know, somebody needed to stop that attack up the side. Somebody needed to come back and support. Somebody needed to stick on McGinn. Somebody needed to be ready for a shot coming and be able to get their hands up. I mean, there was many different things that could have stopped that goal. It didn't happen, so they got the goal.
Where was Kai at that point, Gary?
Where is Kai at? Well, you're saying Kai is supposed to be defensive? Is supposed to be the reason why we
He's
got
a
the
left
goal?
sided.
No,
He's a left sided guy. He's a
You're gonna blame Kai for that goal? Is that where you're going with that?
You blame Gabriel. He plays on the left.
Gabriel plays defense. His job is to stop goals. That's his only job. His first job, when you look at his resume, he says, "What do I do? I stop goals."
If you look at my squad, Arteta expects defense out of everybody.
Number one job for
Except
Gabriel,
for Eddie
Saliba, and Zinchenko and Ben White is what? Stop goals. Backline's number one job.
Unrealistic to expect it 38 times, though.
Expect what?
Not concede a goal.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I just mean no team ever not concedes goals, no matter how good they are.
That's why I said I said we had chances to win this game because we had more than enough chances to take a lead, even with the goal they scored. They didn't score any others. I don't think we felt as threatened by their goal scoring in this game. So that meant we needed to take advantage of it, and we didn't.
You know, as much as we can also look at the defensive frailties in their goal, there is the other side of it where, you know, John McGinn just scored a very good goal. You know, he moved the ball quickly. There was that turn that he did, and then he took his shot, and it didn't go wide. He didn't go at the keeper. It went in.
Yep.
You know, and sometimes, you know, you can look at some of the defensive parts of it, but trying to take my Arsenal hat off, sometimes you think, well, that was, you know.
Yeah.
The
reason why I look at it from Arsenal's perspective,
a little bit like the Ross
fan.
Barkley goal.
Yeah.
And a little bit like the Ross Barkley goal, even though I think that David Raya could have done better. The work leading up to it by Ross Barkley to move the ball as far as he did was good. It's good stuff.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
And I
hate Luton.
As for the VAR and stuff, you know, for me, I definitely think that Mikel Arteta speaking out in the way that he did has ruffled some feathers, and that there's probably a bias now against him, an unspoken, you know, we've got to put this guy back in his box, coming up against the firm, you know, coming up against the Illuminati like he has. Yep. And I think one of the biggest clues to that was him getting booked for his celebration. Yep. It wasn't like he jumped the hoardings and ran into the crowd and took his vest off, or went running onto the pitch with like a corner flag and stuck it into the centre circle, a la Graham Souness. He jumped up with his technical staff because of the, you know what I mean? It was, you know, a last minute winner. You're on top of the league. Every second counts. The money that's involved. What's he supposed to do? You know?
Has anybody else defended him except for Pep?
I don't know. I've not heard.
Well,
but, I mean,
you know,
it's a ridiculous booking. And then it
yeah.
costs you because now you're up in the stands for the next game.
Yeah.
You know, it does cost you. There is a cost there now.
Yeah. Just let me just say that
you know, we have to
assembled. Welcome. Yeah. Go ahead, Stan. If you had any more, I wanted.
I was just going to say we have to put ourselves in a position now where we have to, if we do get a trip up by a VAR in a game, it doesn't matter because we've put 2 goals away, and you know we have to sort of like account for it. We've got to account for how good the other team is and account for the refereeing decisions and get ourselves into positions where it doesn't harm us, which is a bit weird to say, right? It's like playing against a 12th man.
Yeah, I was going to say to that note, the whole Arteta situation and how for me, it's how his team has responded is that old adage, who's got your back? Arteta went out there and put his name on the line, right? Got suspended for it, and the only response from the team should be, we got your back. And you know what? The referees aren't going to be the reason why we lose. And guess what? It's been for a couple of games this season. The referees is the reason why we're losing, not because our play has been answering the call, right? You need to back up your friends sometimes, right? You guys have been in a situation where you were hanging out with that one guy. you Stan, you might be that guy. You say some dumb stuff to somebody. Next thing you know, people want to get into a fight, and you're like, oh well, my buddy just did that again. We're gonna have to back him up. That's what Arteta
I would
is all about.
backstand.
No, that's
support Stan.
what I'm saying is that's what Arteta's team needs to do. They need to back him up, and they're not doing that.
I think we're in a situation now where we have to be doubly smart and watch the little things. What I mean by the little things are, if we find ourselves in a situation where there's a decision going against us and the team are feeling hard done by, don't crowd the ref to remonstrate, because we'll probably get 2 players sent off right there and then because they broke the rules. We've got to watch all of this stuff. Do you know what I mean? No, if you've got a throw in, take the throw in, because we will probably get timed out. All those little things that they can get us on, they'll probably be trying to get us on it by the book. Yep. So we have to be smarter than that and not give them any opportunities. If you want to speak to the referee, send the captain.
Yep. And
let the captain do it.
Do you remember? I don't necessarily remember too much about Arteta as the captain, but would the Arteta the captain be demonstrating the way that Arteta
Not
the coach
really.
is?
I don't think so.
So
that I remember. I mean,
so it's. I mean, he's trying. I think he's trying to do too much. He's got a good plan. He needs more players. Spencer, you got anything to say on this? Arteta getting punished for speaking out?
I mean, I think it's 100% obvious. You can, like, Jesus got kicked in the box. Do I think it's a penalty? Probably not, but they gave one earlier in the day for Crystal Palace and Liverpool. And the next club that's probably going to be on the chopping block for the Premier League to potentially pick on, which might give us a break, is Crystal Palace, because Roy Hodgson did not hold back in that interview I saw, and I thought he brought up good points. I mean,
right.
He's 100% right, and I've said this before, and this is sports entertainment. It's not WWE, but this is about entertainment. They didn't set Kovacic in the Man City game because it didn't want to have an impact on the game, right? But I even heard people talk about this in the NBA. There was I think when LeBron was playing for the Heat, there was a Sixers game, and it's a clip that's going around where they were talking about, oh, we got to win by 15 tonight. And he's like, what do you mean by that? I said, well, the refs are going to try to make sure LeBron and the Heat win, so we got to make sure we win by 15, so we'll only win by 1. Because you remove all doubt. Because this game is so close, right? It's such a game of fine margins. The score is 1-0, 2-1. All it takes is one call, and it could potentially have an impact on the game. But if you put your chances away, like, it doesn't matter. And
but don't we all learn that at an early age playing sports, that the officials could be against you, and you have to just go out and play and not worry about them?
I didn't hear what you said there.
I said, don't all of us, like, growing up playing sports, learn at an early age that the refs can be against you, that you have to just ignore them and do what you're supposed to be doing?
Well, I think it's hilarious at this point. These are all men over the age of 18, who have life experiences, some more than others. When is a ref going to change his mind? Do you know what I mean? Like, how many times have you seen, you know what? I didn't mean to call offside there. You know what? You're right. Guy coming up yelling in my face. I'm absolutely going to take your viewpoint. You were onside. It doesn't happen. So what's the point of talking to the ref?
Maybe once a season. Maybe.
The only person that should talk to the ref is the captain, period.
Yeah. What's that?
It's future influence. You make sure you get the next 50-50 by putting that inch of fear into them. Now, I'm not saying that's right or anything like that, but I'm betting that's why they do it.
Yep.
Well, the problem
I'm pretty certain Roy Keane will tell you that's why he did it.
Well, the problem is that, like, it sets a bad example for, like, youth sports, right?
That's a terrible example.
I mean, it's and I understand what you're saying. It is kind of like the crowding numbers, and let me try to see if I can change his opinion. Like, I don't see him in the NFL going and crowding the ref like they do. I mean, sometimes, not to the extent that I see in the Premier League. In the Premier League, like, you'll have 7 or 8 guys.
In the NFL, in the Premier League, there's one guy.
But, like, even then, like, you usually see 1 or 2 guys go and say something. Sometimes none. But, like, they can't even.
It's usually just the coach.
VAR,
maybe a captain, but usually a coach.
But yeah, I mean, we do learn that. But I mean, I would like to see the Premier League crack down on that more than anything else. But
But what's weird, we heard all that at the end of last season that they're look at making rule changes, officiate different, look at changing VAR.
The
And
reality is
nothing's
you
happened
can't-
except for it's probably gotten worse.
You
this
can't
season.
tell millionaires what to do.
Well,
They're not used to it.
You know what? That's you know what? They need to be able to listen to somebody. The authority on that field is the official, and if as I've done it as a basketball player, as a basketball official.
I get this.
It's my court. I'm
I
calling.
get that.
I'm making the calls. We're going to respect each other. It goes back and forth, right?
Yep.
And if it
Yep,
doesn't, then I'll let you know with a with a flag, with a penalty, right?
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No, but you know what? That's where it's twofold. One, as an official, you need to be able to do your job good. The fact that they're trying to add on more rules for these guys is ridiculous. Let's get the rules they have right now actually being applied correctly.
The Man City
before
one
we
is
even
the
add
best
more.
example. The Man City one's the best example because it shows the arrogance and entitlement of millionaires, and more specifically, successful millionaires at football.
Mm-hmm.
But then they'll turn around and tell you, why did you let me get advantage? And then as soon as I get to take advantage of the advantage you gave me, you call it back because what? I might score. What was that about? That's somebody, I believe you have to be authoritative. You have to be authoritative in in what you're giving out. If you're going to give advantage, you let that play through. All right. If you stop it the way he did.
Can I say one more thing and then I'll shut up?
No. I want you to talk. I'm just saying.
No. I'm just saying. Then obviously the rest of the guys can give their thing. But I just want to say, I've got it in my head that the thing I like about the Championship, and I do not recommend anyone ever playing football there. Don't go there, Arsenal. And I know you're in no danger of it, but still, the thing I like about it is, even though the refereeing on occasion is terrible, it's terrible. And then you move on because there's no VAR. So if they get the decision wrong, you don't pour over it for 5 minutes. And the clock ain't running while that happens. Yeah, if you get screwed over, you get screwed over. But you still have the time to overturn, to get, as Stan was saying, make sure that it doesn't matter. Because you play the game to the whistle, etc. And you overturn it yourself on the pitch. But you get less time to do that in the Premier League because the clock runs while everyone's watching a replay, which you can see what the right decision is when you've seen it the 8th time. But the people that make the decision seemingly do not.
And it's crazy, like the start of last season, it was really normal 2 to 4 minutes of extra time. Then I got to the second half of it, and you're having these 10 to 12 minutes. And now virtually everything 6 to 10 minutes of extra time, which
that
is
Chelsea
ridiculous.
match was absurd.
Oh, Gary, Clemson is a minute 35 from winning their second national championship in soccer in 2 years. So 3 years. So over Notre Dame. Just thought I'd put that out there.
No, nobody cares.
Nobody
cares about your team.
That just occurred to me, right?
Is that men's soccer, Spencer? Is that men's soccer? That nobody, that 3/4 of the colleges.
Can you hear what Mr. Stan has to say, Tony? Yeah. You rude, interrupting motherfucker.
Tell him.
Like they got the English refs going over to the Middle East during the week to earn extra money to ref. I'm like, why would they do that? Wouldn't they go somewhere else and get better refs? I mean, aren't they seeing what the English refs are doing during on a Saturday? Why are they doing it? Why? It doesn't make sense, does it?
I mean, it might make sense.
It just seems like you go to just Germany or Italy somewhere.
There must be better refs somewhere else.
Because you might be able to potentially buy influence that way.
I don't believe there is.
There is,
you know. I mean, I hate
Sorry, go on, Spencer.
We really don't do ourselves any justice. We don't talk about it enough about the nation state clubs and the influence they have.
But they've been getting bad decisions as well, though, haven't they? I've seen them getting, these clubs that are affiliated to these ownerships. I've seen them getting bad decisions recently as well. Like we just discussed, didn't we? The Man City one.
Yeah,
That was.
I mean,
they get less bad decisions though.
Yeah, I mean, I do think you're right, Stan. I mean, there is a mixture of bad and good with it. And I just have a hard time knowing that your English refs, the Saudi Public Investment Fund owns Newcastle, and they have the refs coming over and doing the Saudi Pro League during the week. Like, it just doesn't seem
conflict of interest.
Yeah, I mean that's the word for it.
Surely.
Correct term.
And I have
You're getting paid by people that own some of the clubs in this league.
And I have a feeling
that's a conflict of interest, isn't it? When you're supposed to be the adjudicator, your role is to be the fair, impartial adjudicator in the whole fucking scheme of it.
And
you're getting paid by owners. That makes no sense.
Look after Man City giving you pocket money. Sorry, Tony. Go on.
One thing we didn't talk much about during the summer, we kind of talked about the fees and stuff, but we didn't talk about why. There are 4 clubs in Saudi Arabia that's owned by the fund. So I assume those 4 teams are probably the ones that are bringing in the referees.
Yeah, but they're all in it. It's like over there, it's probably like one big conglomerate. Do you know what I mean? I bet it's not. It's probably not as independent as football ownership is in England. There's probably more ties. Somehow, there's some sort of intrinsic links. If you see what I'm getting at, they probably operate on that as separate entities, but somehow they're all sort of like tentacles of the same organism. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you can have some of this money from the Saudi fund.
It's interesting you say this because Girona in Spain are owned by Manchester City or the City Football Group. And according to UEFA rules, if 2 teams owned by the same person qualify for the Champions League, the one that finishes lower can't play in the Champions League. Therefore, if Girona win La Liga, of which I believe they are currently top or second, and Man City finish 4th or whatever it is, Man City will not qualify for the Champions League, or they will not be allowed to play in it.
You really think they're going to enforce that?
I have absolutely no idea. I know Red Bull Leipzig and Salzburg get around it because Red Bull is the sponsor, not the legal owners of the team. Like they've basically got 2 subsidiaries, and it's different managements, something like that.
Yeah,
that's how they get around it. But generally speaking, Girona are under the Man City Football Group.
I'm sure they have players on loan there, like when they first got in trouble for that.
It won't matter because Girona are probably not going to qualify for the Champions League, or if they do, you know what I mean. But I'm sure it won't matter. But I thought it's relevant to bring up.
Do you think they're going to drop from 1st at this point in the season all the way to 5th? Like,
possibly. But what my point is that they'll probably drop while Man City will rise. So even if they finish 4th and qualify for it, and then Man City finish 3rd, Man City get to play in the Champions League, and they don't. It's more my point.
Maybe Girona will suddenly, all of a sudden, the management, they don't have as many resources as they had. Do you know what I mean?
They got such pocket money.
Well, why did we have 6 players
mysteriously injured on their way home?
Why did we have 6 players transferred to City?
That is a genuine rule, though. It's just rarely enforced because usually the multi-club model obviously privatizes one club over others.
Well, that was the thing that I think I was talking to Sam at the end of the show on Saturday, Gary, that Arsenal should probably, or the Kroenke should potentially invest in a club that's abroad outside of they have the Colorado Rapids, but maybe find a team in Spain or something like that to create like a feeder club like Red Bull has.
Yeah.
You could put loan deals, put guys out there, get them game time.
Yeah. I mean, you're saying this to an owner who's really what he's into, right?
He's in real estate.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not really thinking about unless there's a team that has a really nice real estate.
Madrid's pretty nice.
Stadium. Yeah, he's gonna buy Madrid. I don't think
he's worth a lot on the Monopoly board.
He's got Walmart money involved in there too. So.
I think it'd be a lot of money to buy that. I don't think they'll
Imagine that.
sell it.
Madrid become Arsenal's feeder club.
They fed you Odegaard, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, that
Well,
was
there
not
you
a
go.
fee.
There
That
you go.
was some scraps that fell off the table. Luckily- and they
Baptista,
did-
or whatever his name
we
was.
dusted it off and tidied
Ozil.
it up.
Danny Ceballos.
They've fed you quite a bit over the years, actually, Real
Yeah.
Madrid.
Danny
They
Ceballos.
poisoned us a few times.
Also gave us
like
a
Ceballos.
couple of good years. And did you say somebody else? Because I hope you didn't.
Ozil.
How do
No.
they keep going in there for Ceballos? Just
Yeah, that's. I was hoping nobody would bring it up, and you decided to.
Still playing for him.
Yeah, when you're playing with he's playing with a lot of better players around him, right?
He had
He
that
doesn't have
game
to-
winner in the I think it was the quarterfinals of the FA Cup for us. The critical goal at the end, I think, against Sheffield United during COVID.
He's doing all
I
right.
don't know. I don't know. Me, Stan, and Gary spent so much time yelling at him. We did
Yeah.
point out a few times he did good, but
You're not a fan, Gary.
Can I just say as well,
Uh,
BX brings up a good point as well. If you've noticed as well that our players can get roughed up, elbows in
Yes.
heads, and it's a little bit like like in Scum or in the other prison film when there's a fight or something, and then the warder comes and goes, "What's happened here?" And everyone goes, "Slip, sir," or they go, "Didn't see it, didn't see what happened, sir." That keeps
Sleep
happening
in
to
the
us.
shower, reading my
You can
Bible.
bash our players in the head with your elbows, and it's not violent conduct anymore. It's twice now, in recent weeks.
and that's like Saka. Saka was always and still always getting tackled and roughed up. He started diving, and guess what? He started getting yellow cards for it, even though he was getting contact. He just went down with a contact, and the referees told him to get up and here's your card.
Yeah, I think sometimes as you say they hate us, and we're not
But we
going to get
don't
the
care.
benefit of the doubt from them anymore. So
Turn the Millwall, right?
we're kind of screwed in that sense. That's why the only way we can answer the call is what? Put the ball in the goal.
And
Put the ball in the net.
I think there's a lot
House
of like
97 joins
boo-boo
us. Welcome
face
to the
that
show.
goes on with the Arsenal team. And I get it happens to other teams, but it especially happens to your team. How when there's a perceived grievance, and let's say for argument's sake that a lot of the time you are right, there is a grievance. It seems like the players are like, I don't care that there's 30 minutes left. We're just going to sit on this. So then if it doesn't go our way anyway, we've got our excuse. Now, I'm sure that's not factually true, but it feels like it. And it feels like Arteta then sits on that and is basically like, this is why we didn't win or whatever. It's like, you just got to, like the lines thing. We all know they never drew the lines. But they didn't not draw the lines in the 89th minute. They didn't draw the lines in like the 70th minute. So you had 20 minutes to score against a Brentford team you are significantly better than. And you didn't.
it comes
Well,
down to mental toughness.
That's why me
Right.
and Gary always say just put the ball in the net and you don't have to answer those questions.
I'm not saying
This is
that
what
to
I
be
was
a
saying
dick.
about we've got to take
No,
it out of their hands.
Yeah.
We've got to take the
Yeah,
situation
exactly.
out of their hands, so
Yeah.
that it doesn't, so that games don't hinge on those kind of decisions.
That's right.
Like I said, for me as a kid, when we were playing basketball, we'd have shitty referees. It's like, oh, you have to hustle and play harder and score more because the refs are against you. So
Well, and I saw the one that kind of brought up the VAR thing. So, and I still prefaced with, Odegaard should have put his chance away, right?
Yeah.
So I still don't think that's the reason we lost because of the handball or anything. That's just getting annoying to having to watch that. I mean, when I watch NFL games, I don't sit there and, oh, well, that pass interference on third downs while we lost. Well, no, you only converted, 20% of your third downs.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, I mean,
what's that?
no, it's all good. We can teach you, man. But it's just there's different statistics that lead to you losing the game outside of one incident, right? And it really comes down to putting your chances away. We had 12 shots on Saturday, 10 from open play. We should be putting our stuff away. And we're watching the highlights, and there were some times where Emi Martinez was a little sloppy with the ball. There's just a lot. It's a mixture of unluck, poor play, not finishing enough. Because I mean, even like the game I think we drew against Fulham earlier in the year, we had so many chances to put the ball in the back of the net, but didn't do it. We tied 2-2, and if a couple of those chances get in, you're up 4-2. So I see. I know we've talked about this also. Like eventually, this team's going to like have a game where they smash somebody in the league, and they did it against Sheffield United. But it's going to come a chance where when it opens up, it's going to open up. We're going to have a string of like 4-0, 4-1. It's just going to happen because the team's just too talented not to do it.
I don't think it's going to happen because you didn't see it last year either. You only seen like one of those. There's
But
20
you
of those
scored
games.
more goals last year than you had in, I think, Premier League history. You scored 89 goals last year, which is the most Arsenal have scored ever in the Premier League era. You know, obviously there's, you know, playing football since 1886, but you were very high powered last year. You know, just a little too open though, and yeah. But
yeah. Now I was going to say on that note, I think one of the things that also comes up, the reason why I think we as a team we are who we are is because Arteta, he'll focus some on his team's performance and stuff, but he'll also bring up the other stuff that is always going to be there, and at some point he needs to just let everybody know, like, my team we didn't do our job, we didn't coach these guys up good enough or something like that, because that's what it is. At some point the players have to back him up. That's why I keep saying that. At some point, you know what, you had, what is it, 4 big chances in the Villa game. You didn't put any of them away. You had whatever number, like whatever 12 shots or whatever it was. They didn't get a shot on target for like 50, 60 minutes of that game, Villa. So you had more than enough time, and that's, you know, that's when you lose games, because those are the times that you have an opportunity. That's why I think when Arteta doesn't sub before the other team, we get screwed. He needs to make that change. We weren't going to score because those players weren't eventually going to score. The sub needs to come sooner. We always see it. The other team's like, you know what? They don't want it. So let's go ahead and try to finish this thing off. And they bring on young, fresher legs, more defensive stability, all of that. We bring on just the one player we have, right? Trossard. Really, that's the only player we can bring off the bench at that point. And we give him like 20 minutes. Right? He needed a lot more than that, I think, in that particular game, the way it was playing out. Because as soon as they hit about 75 minutes, game, they're more disciplined than us, and they're gonna just stall and run out the clock, and that's basically what happened. We're not that disciplined like that at the end of games, where we, sometimes you see it. We don't have the dark arts of that as well. So for me, it's a lot of this is on Arteta. For me, he's got to get his guys focused on. They need to do all they can to get that ball into the box. I don't care into the goal. I don't care how they do it. Just like when teams will go out there and defend, and they will grab us, they will hit us in the head, they will kick us in the leg, all of those things, just to make sure we don't get an opportunity. We need to do the same thing when it comes to scoring. Do whatever you can, get that ball in the goal. We've seen it done. We saw it last season in that Southampton game. We needed a goal. We were peppering that goal and putting balls into the box and all of that when we started bringing on our, that's the mentality we need to have when we get into the box, and we don't. We get in there and we just seem like we want to just walk it in, tap it home. No, you're going to have to force it in. They don't want you to put the ball in the box. They don't want you to put the ball in the goal, So you're just gonna have to force it down, force it in there. You know what I mean? I think that's where we seem like we want to just get it. They're not gonna roll over. The other teams are not gonna roll over. You're gonna put that ball, you gotta kick that ball through the back of the net, and we never do that enough. A lot of times you saw Martinez just basically catch the shot. And you're like, well, that means there was nothing really behind that one. He caught so many shots from us over the weekend. You're not going to score against a goalkeeper like that. I call him, Superman. Got those strong hands. You throw the ball, and that's.
And Gary, if you notice, he does that annoying thing where he catches the ball in his chest and then he flops down to the ground and lays down for a few seconds to waste time. He does it every time.
That's why
It's clever.
Rain was good.
It's clever when it's
good
clever, but when it's against you, you hate it. But you know, if he's doing that for you, you can see what he's doing, right? He's eating up the time.
Reyna's good at catching it, but he just rolls it straight on or boots it down the pitch.
Yeah.
Like you said, any waste of time. But historically in the Premier League, we see teams trying to make a move between 55 and 60 minutes. Now we got 2 extra subs, and Arteta still hardly ever makes one before 70 minutes. That's not
The
enough
time
for
goes
a
on longer
player
now,
to come in.
doesn't it? We get 10 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
Sometimes. You know?
So
Yeah, but
So you
still,
put someone on,
if you're
someone
subbing
on
at the
70 minutes,
70th,
it used to be 20 minutes to go. Now it's half an hour still. You know?
yeah, it's still not soon enough though to make a change.
I wasn't a complete fan of the subs that were made this weekend too, to be honest with you. I would have liked to kept Martinelli on and maybe pulled out Zinchenko or something and added an extra attacker up there. When he brought Eddie on, I thought that was the right move, but I thought he was going to bring Eddie on and pull Zinchenko off or Ben White off, somebody, right? But the problem was, and this is where I kind of going to defend Arteta with some of the decisions on Saturday, is it's a ticking time bomb when you're playing this game against Villa, where if you pull one piece off, it opens you up here. So it was a massive chess match, and I think, Stan, you said it earlier. If you look at the bench options right now, outside of Reece Nelson and Trossard, there's nobody out there that if you need that goal. That's why I would have started Trossard on Saturday, had Martinelli on the bench so you could bring him on later, and he could have all that pace to go for 30, 40 minutes, right? It's all Monday morning quarterback stuff we're discussing here and outcome analysis, but it's
you say
we've
that.
been saying that for a while, though.
It's the same stuff we see every week. Think about it.
We've been saying this for a long time.
They had 4 subs. One was forced before we even got our first sub on, and we're trying to get a goal. How is that?
And
they
this
had a sub. They had to make it. They had a sub. They had to make it halftime. They made 3 more subs to solidify that. That what they were trying to do is see out the game. We bring on our players at the 70th minute. Trossard, not enough time. And Kedia at the 81st minute. What's that all about? And then Nelson in the 90th minute. What are you doing?
You're chasing a goal when you're leaving that late.
Eddie in the 80th minute. He's not that type of player. He's not. He needs more than 8 minutes to get a goal. That's not.
No,
he's not
like
somebody,
Smith Road or Trossard.
You don't bring him on and expect to get anything from him. He needs time to build into it. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna get. I just don't think it's he's not. I always go back to it. When Giroud is taking off his shirt in 70 minutes or in the 80th minute, what do? We all put smile gills on our face because we know what's about to happen. He's gonna get a chance to score, right? We saw it so many times, and we were happy for it. Eddie's not that, so we can't bring him on in the 80-minute expecting anything from him.
He did miss a header that we was offsides.
As I said, we don't expect him to do anything, even when he gets the opportunity. It's not we don't feel comfortable about it, confident that guess what, he's coming on, something's about to happen.
It's not like Smith Rowe. It's not like Smith Rowe getting 10 goals coming on after the 70th minute. He was coming out there getting goals, doing what he was supposed to. That's what type of impact subs you want to have. We do have them if you shift the players around. Like you said, the rest of Martinelli, rest of Saka, and bring them on. 35 minutes left.
Yeah, this is another thing that I wanted to, we're talking about these players coming off the bench. Right now, we've got 6 players I think we don't need because we don't play them. They're not part of the squad, meaning they don't have any confidence from our Huh?
Yeah.
I want names.
What are the names?
Here we go.
Cedric Fiorentina.
Hey, it's not your question. What is it? Nobody asked you. The 6 players: Nelson, Milsuf, Rowe, Vieira, Cedric, El Neni, and Nketiah for me. Those are 6 players. If they don't play, if they play, sometimes we don't get what we want out of them.
Smith Rowe can't stay healthy. Vieira's out right now.
Vieira, when he's healthy, it doesn't matter.
Come on, man. Come on. You can't do this to me. Bring me on your show and you start bad-mouthing Teabag. This is what your game is.
I'm just telling you. You know what? Think
about
about where this team is right now. Those 6 players I named. We need something better than that coming off the bench. We need Kudus. We need Diaby. We need all these names coming off the bench, right?
Tielemans.
We talked about it. Can we bring in who's the Southampton set taker? Prowse, Ward Prowse, right? Could you do with a Ward Prowse right now on our squad? I think we could, right? There's all these players that we could afford to purchase, and we didn't. And we're looking at our bench, and Arteta doesn't want to bring them. You bringing on players after the 70th minute shows you don't really have confidence that they're going to get the job done. You're going to force your starters to go 70 minutes every game.
I could add 2 more players to that list. I'd add Partey to that list, and also Tomiyasu, only because it doesn't matter how much talent they have if they're not available to use it in the games. It's no good. Do you know what I mean? And I really like Tomiyasu, the different positions that he can play. He's very good when he gets at the top of the pitch and can be useful. But he has his problem, doesn't he, with his muscles? Always the same calf muscle injuries. Thomas Partey is another one.
Yeah, but it's calf, hamstring. It's all his muscles.
But he can't rely on the guy. He's played 30% of the games available to him since he signed for us, apparently, Thomas Partey. That's just no good. Same with ESR. ESR's the same. They're just never available. And now it seems like Vieira's the same as well. So these are the players that they're no good to us.
Yeah, they're not as good as the players are used to have.
They come back, they're out after 3 games. They have 3 appearances and they break down again.
Yep.
Yeah.
But shouldn't you be able to manage those type of players with the 5 subs? Shouldn't you be able to bring them in and rest them like you need to?
You know what? The fact that he won't bring them in is the problem for me. And if he's not going to bring them in, then why did he re-sign up Emil Smith-Rowe? Why did he re-sign up Reece Nelson?
But how many of those do you think we could sell in a winter realistically? Smith-Rowe and maybe a cheap
retain their value, right? Eddie. Retain their value by signing them, and maybe with someone like Emil Smith-Rowe, it was a make or break for him. And for whatever reasons, he's not been. He's back in training apparently, but again, it's another one. It's for how long? It's like Tierney. Loved Kieran Tierney, but we couldn't rely on him. So, what are we going to do? You got to move him on, especially Emma Smith-Rowe. You know, someone's come through the academy and coming off the bench and scores goals, brilliant. But if you can't use him, no good.
Mm-hmm. So what's he been with us at this point? About 8 years, probably.
What?
So what's he been with us? Probably 8 years at this point.
What's that matter?
It's time to move on when he's constantly injured.
You probably don't need to wait that long. But I was going to ask Mr. Tom, your team. You look at your bench. Do you have answers everywhere, or do you have?
We've got a lot of answers on our bench, but also we're going up against significantly weak.
No, you know, they're levels, right? And the level, like the level is. Do you when your manager looks at his bench and he needs defense, does he have an answer? When he needs somebody to hold up the ball in the midfield or attack from the midfield, does he have an answer there? If he needs attacking up front, does he have an answer there?
Yeah.
See, and that he might just have one answer, but we have no answers in some cases. You know what I mean? Like right now we don't have a backup to our center backs right now. Like we can say for sure this is a good player to put right there. We have a player who might get there in Kiwior. But
the answer is Patrick Bamford, though, for context.
But
that's what I can hear for us, and that means you don't have it. You don't have it.
but isn't Trossard really the only impact sub we got?
Trossard, Jorginho, and Ramsdale are the only players I see on our bench right now.
Nelson has had a couple of good showings off the bench, hasn't he, Nelson? He has. He doesn't seem to get an opportunity to do that more often.
Yes.
Yeah, but now it's like he gets it like 5 minutes left.
Teta never goes to that well enough for me.
Yep.
No.
Reece Nelson should be starting games for us. more because it's the only way he's gonna. If he's part of the team, he's part of the team. He's got to be able to start for us.
See, I worry that in the game tomorrow, where we've already kind of qualified, that he puts out a team which is really heavy in some of these second stringers. And I think a lot of those players are just going to hang themselves, because I think that with some of our second stringers, if you put a couple of them into the main 11, they kind of survive.
Yep.
They kind of survive. But if you put them all out together, it don't work. Especially, for example, even you think, well, Patrick, not Patrick, Fabio Vieira's in there. He flirts with the first team. He should be able to lift some of those other second stringers that don't get. It doesn't work like that. He seems to disappear and become terrible. So I got a feeling that tomorrow, if he plays a very bare-boned team,
you will lose.
They're gonna. Some of them players are gonna hang themselves, and it will probably be giving Mikel Arteta an opportunity time to say, "Yeah, I'm crossing them off the list." They're not going to do it.
It's like the Carabao Cup.
Go ahead.
He doesn't like playing weak squads. He's not going to do it.
You know what he needs. You have these players. You need to support them. The only way you support them is you play them. If you don't support them, what's the point of having them? Right? At some point, you have to play your players. I mean, question for Stan here. You'd think Arsenal wouldn't have so many injuries after signing players, especially after having a medical. This is my opinion. It has to be an Arsenal problem.
Maybe they go through so many physios.
It's not your question, Tony. Hold on.
maybe you got because there's a lot of reports in about Thomas Partey hardly ever got injured at Atletico Madrid, and then someone said to me, "Yeah, but he hardly ever played 90 minutes. He always played maybe 70 minutes." I don't know that to be true, but maybe training is maybe the training regimes on some players that maybe it's too much for them. I don't know, but we do seem to suffer a lot of muscle strains, isn't it? Muscle problems. Tom?
It's the intensity in the Premier League.
Say again.
La Liga is notably slower, which in theory would mean it is not as intense on the body, and you play more games in England in general than you do in Spain. So it just stands to reason that is why players that necessarily wouldn't get as injured in Spain wouldn't necessarily have the same luck in England.
And it's not near as physical as well.
Oh no, that could be.
That's why you need a squad, right? You need to either you need to be lucky or you need to have a squad.
Well, it should dictate your transfer policy too, right? Where now instead of buying a guy that's from La Liga, maybe you start looking for someone that's been in the Premier League for a long time and understands the physicality of it and has been readily available for 38 games. That might, if it costs you a little bit more, so be it. At least you're getting availability. And I think that's the most important thing that this team needs right now is you're not going to win a title with like the guy's not readily being available, continually picking up muscle injuries. Because there was a point there where you're like, all right, Tomiyasu's kicking on, looking really good. Ben White, we got Kivior, Zinchenko, good rotation right there. And then you could also say, hey, if I need to give Saliba a game off, I can throw Tomiyasu in there to play center back. Exactly. Like that. Yeah. So now you're missing that, right? And that's the thing that I think that hurts more. So I know we talked about the striker potentially in January, but I think we have to start looking at some more depth as well. Maybe like a backup center back, another midfield position,
especially in the light of Timber being it. Had Timber been available, we might have been able to have got away with it. But we're
absolutely.
Short.
And Timber could have played center back too. He did it a lot.
Remember what we did last year? We bought a center back and Arteta refused.
Oh no, we did. I did it.
Yeah, you did. You just started.
Oh no,
you know what? He didn't. He skipped over my comments on it, but he didn't skip over yours.
I definitely did.
Tony admitted he's wrong on Saliba yet.
He's going to tell you about something else, though.
Broken clock is right wrong twice a day, Tom. Or right twice a day. Sorry.
Who did we have injured?
Oh, moving on.
Did we have somebody injured? Have a back? Do we have an injury right now?
What's that got to do with the price of milk in Denmark, Tony?
Well, if you look at a sell a player, then there's an injury, and sometimes you have to keep the player.
Sell him. You were going to play him. He's a key part of your defence.
No, he wasn't.
You said Saliba.
What?
They kept
Saliba
looking
was not a key part of your defence.
They kept looking at his projections, especially the first 2 years.
Gary. He's
Especially the first 2 years.
Oh my gosh, you
they
want me
would
to
sit
mute
here.
you?
They would sit
You're
here.
saying nonsense now, Tony.
It's not nonsense. Go back and read what they said.
He will leave
The
eventually
coaches
because
said
everyone
that
does.
he was not projecting like they wanted to.
Where is he now? So
hang on. He weren't projecting.
Whose plan actually worked?
To the point where they
Yours
put him
or
straight
theirs?
into the team.
Oh, Tony.
Tony, where is he now?
Can you
Did
ever
we
admit
have an
you're
injury?
wrong?
Where is he now, Tony? Where is he now?
You have injuries. Things change.
Where is
Just
he
admit you're
now?
wrong.
He's considered one of the best young center backs, if not one of the best center backs out there right now, right?
No, he's not. He's one of like
Hang
15
on,
fucking French guys.
Sorry, Tony. I had to suffer, and it was suffer. I had to suffer an entire summer of Arsenal fans telling me that if Saliba didn't get injured in April, you'd have won the title.
Yeah, basically.
Now, they're not going to say that about a player that's not the caliber.
Yeah, but that is
that you're looking for.
categorically false because you bought a center back that you refused to play.
You're comparing
that is better
to
than
Saliba, right? That's what you're doing right now.
I don't care whether it's right or wrong. I'm just saying a lot of Arsenal fans told me that is the reason you did not win the title when you were primed to do it.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I think there were multiple factors as to why he didn't.
I think
but
the biggest
the fact
thing
that
is
he is even in the conversation tells me he was a key part of your team. And
think
you were
the
looking to
biggest
build a
thing was
defence around him.
Yeah.
I still think KG's playing a Stella Trossard.
Tony,
You gotta admit you were wrong.
Tony, you're wrong. You're wrong. Let's move on. Biggest gun is gonna get. Biggest gun is gonna get. Let's get into. We actually are playing a game tomorrow. It actually should be hopefully an entertaining game. Meaning we don't know what we're gonna get. Should be a whole box of chocolates. Hopefully coming up tomorrow. Hopefully we don't see a lot of familiar names. That's what I hope. I hope we see a lot of youngsters get an opportunity to start or play.
Why do you expect that, Gary? It's not going to happen.
Is it in the Philips Arena?
Because that's what needs to happen, huh?
Is it in the Philips Arena or whatever they call it?
Oh, I don't know where PSV plays.
Is it at the Emirates?
No, it's away. It's away.
All right, I need to get to a bookie before the lineup comes out because this is the day where you make your bread. On the day where Arsenal play their 6th game in the Champions League, because you know they're going to put out the kids, but the bookies are never quite certain.
Three kids made the trip, so I like to think one of them is to start. 3: Walters, Salzer, and Nweri.
When you vote the defender,
I think Walters is The Walters or Salzer defensive
because I was just thinking when we were talking about being a little bit short at the back, and Tomiyasu looks like he's going to be out for a while. That we shouldn't be in. Why are we in a situation where like shit? We've got to panic now. We've got to go into the transfer market and spend money to bring someone in. Haven't we got a young kid who can be a part of the team and come in when needed, and sort of learn his apprenticeship? Do we not have anyone at Arsenal who can be there as a backup to the backup?
And where he just scored 5 goals in his last game. I think the man probably is he probably needs to get challenged. All right.
Stan, how can we know when we never see him? You see the guys on the team sheet, but they never get in there.
No.
Arteta has not played with young players. He's not going to.
I mean, I think Sammy's fit,
but I mean, when there's injuries, is there no young kid that can be okay? I'm going to put you on standby now. You're going to be training. You're going to be there in case we need it because we're a little bit short at the back. We must have someone.
But supposedly all those guys are training with the first teamers.
Yeah,
but you never see them.
Yeah, so talk to me, Spencer. Tell me.
I mean, my thing would be this, and my counterpoint to Stan, which I do agree that we should potentially start bringing in some of the young kids. But I had this discussion with Ryan and Liam one time, and they feel that the squad is at a point now where you're not bringing in the youth kids anymore. It's going to be a big person from like around Europe that's a big name player. But I also believe that you should use the youth system to your advantage. You got Saka through your youth system, Smith Rowe through your youth system, right?
Eddie?
Right, Eddie as well. However people feel about Eddie, but you got him. It didn't cost you anything. He's costing you salary, but I mean, my thing is like, where would you integrate these players at this point, right? That's where it really comes down to. And to me, the thought process would be more like the 80th minute of a game, right? You bring in somebody, Walters, whoever, and say, all right, here's go like the Brighton game on Saturday would be a case in point for that. I don't think they play the kids tomorrow at PSV. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that Arteta brought a really strong squad because he's irritated they lost on Saturday, and he wants to send a message, and he wants to keep them clicking. That's just my vibe.
Beating PSV for me doesn't signify we're going to play any better against Brighton. For me, I don't think that's for me. I don't think that's like a stepping stone right now, right?
But what we used to do, Spencer, is Wenger used to play in the League Cup. Now, if they did good in the League Cup, they'd get 10 minutes in Premier League. If they did good in that appearance, then they get 20 minutes. Then, if they're good enough, they get starts. I mean, that's the way it should be, but Arteta just does not want to take time to train guys.
We're watching players in a lot of these big teams all getting significant minutes. I would be surprised we don't have at least one player that could give us some minutes and play. You know, you can name them all. Like Newcastle had a player come on. I know United has had a player come on. I mean, a lot of these, younger players are getting minutes here. And we do have some talented players, and we saw them play in the preseason. They looked much better than some of the players we have.
Hungry.
You know what I mean?
So
I would much rather save money on players like Tavares, Lokonga, Marquinhos. Going out and bringing in young kids at a gamble and paying money for them when we have kids coming up through the academy and put more belief in them, even if it means bringing them into the squad pre-season and then loaning them out. Why are we spending money on kids from South America or Africa or miles and miles away? If you're telling me then because they're better than the kids in the academy, then we need to upgrade what we're doing in the academy so that we have better prospects in there.
Here's the other thing though, like how much pressure is Arteta on to win something this year from the board, right? And I say that out of the flip side of like, if you're Arteta, you're in your fourth year, you've won one trophy. Do you want to trust a kid with your fate? Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying that that's the right approach, but I mean, they're either good. It's a value added, right? Like it's an asset that's already currently here. The FFP numbers haven't come out yet for the next season, so we don't know where our aggregate is on that, considering how much money we can spend. But I like Havertz, but I didn't like him at 65 million. That 30 million of that could have gone to something else. But that that's the thing where a Walters, a Souza, a Nwari, utilize that asset. I think Nwari's probably the easiest one, right? To throw like an attacking midfielder out there. The defender is going to be a little bit more tough. I almost expect like a Walters or Souza to maybe do like a loan move eventually somewhere, maybe in the championship, maybe Spain, wherever. I could see Walters playing. That's the one that I could see just because of the left and right back situation. But again, you let Tierney go out on loan, but the counterpoint to Tierney is Tierney's never healthy, right? So as good as Kieran Tierney is, he's never healthy. So like, to me, that's the scary position right now as our defense going forward. Brighton this weekend coming up, and then the big one at Anfield, which Havertz is on 4 yellows. So I'm just convinced he's going to pick up a yellow against the Brighton game, and there'll be some impact to that. But we're obviously not at that point. But yeah, I mean, I would love to see them use the youth academy because that's what it's there for.
But look at last year. We break the Premier League record on Magallanes. Player, guess what? We haven't seen him since. Gets one appearance, done.
But like you said, Spencer, you could have one or two on the bench because the benches are bigger now because you can use so many substitutions. Mm-hmm. And if you find yourself in a Sheffield situation where you're 4 or 5 goals ahead and time to spare, you can bring someone in to get a bit of experience, and it's not going to cost you too much if they have a bit of a ricket. What obviously what you don't want to do is bring them on when you're like 2-0 down.
Yeah,
in an important situation and put too much fear in them. But there may be opportunities, to sprinkle it out. Caribou Cup games like tomorrow, for example, where it's not going to cost too much. You've got so many substitutions that you can use. You can start out with a fairly strong team and then gradually give some of the young ones, blood them a little bit.
Yeah. Boyce is. Let me get in the chat here. Boyce is talking about Bergkamp coming home and maybe talking to teaching the little kids a little something about this thing called football. That could be a plus.
Is that going to happen? Is it?
So supposedly I think there's at least there's a rumor. Who knows how true it is?
For the third year in a row.
There's rumor. So we'll see. But we'll see. And Big Gunner has got a
the
couple of
Cronkies
players
have obviously
here.
forgiven him for standing up to them with the guy that owns Spotify with Bergkamp and with Henry and Vieira.
That is true. Hey, it's Bergkamp, man.
Bergkamp bent the knee.
There you go. You got Skelly as well as Cozier. That's right, Cozier, Debury, and Sago Jr. also are a couple of youngsters that we have that are pretty good as well. So we've got at least 5 to 6 youth that could potentially, if you get hit on one of them, you've done a good job, right?
So you got Charlie Patino on loan right now too. So
they're comparing Nweri to Wilshire. So, we'll see how that all plans out. But yeah, no, I think those players should get a chance to play. And I hear the thoughts about not having the starters play and not getting a loss. But for me, Arteta will play these starters 70 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I just think that's just not good. I think at some point we need to rotate our players, and Arteta he's just stubborn. He's too stubborn not to take them out at halftime. He's going to make them play 70 minutes, right? Some will play 90, and then you're like, all right, and then they come into the Brighton game, and you're like, they really haven't got that mental break that they needed away from the game.
Isn't it insanity to keep seeing the same thing and expecting something different? You know what Arteta's going to do at this point?
I heard Martinelli and Saka didn't train.
Yeah. So if they're not training, I don't expect to see them playing tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like if they're not training the day before you take off to go away, there's no reason for them probably for me to travel, much less have a seat on the bench.
Saka traveled, but it looks like Martinelli didn't.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. Saka is the one who shouldn't be traveling for sure. He's fine. He doesn't need to play in this game to have him play in the Brighton game. That's the one play I don't think we need to go. Well, he didn't play in the game before. He didn't play against PSV, so he won't be ready for Brighton. I think he's shown that he's doing all right this season. He's our best player right now in terms of offensive output, right?
Yep.
The best one we got.
Saka probably didn't have to travel, but he decided that he would so that he could stock up on cigarettes from duty free for Christmas. He's not playing though. He's getting whiskey, cigarette.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
Stan, do you think if we didn't have Emery that was playing a young Saka, do you think we would even see him right now?
Well, yes. I think he was probably at the time he was really emerging, wasn't he? Him and ESR were the two
some of the top
really
players we had in the academy. I mean, some of the top players in the academy. So,
yeah, but all these guys, he was playing all of them.
No, but Saka was really, really like one of the top players there.
And Emery came from out of town, right? He would have been doing it on the advice of, I would imagine, the coaches that were coaching Saka at their younger level, right? He just come into the club. He wouldn't have walked into the club and go, "Oh, who's that kid?"
I still wonder how much of it, Stan, because we've seen the players turn on him later. How much do you think it was? Oh, I can see that these senior players aren't buying into what I'm selling them. So I'm going to play with young players.
You know what? He didn't get back by the club, and they screwed him. That's what they did. They didn't get back. The club didn't back him when he wanted players. The club obviously didn't back him with all the way the media treated him, right? Like, if Arsenal stood up and said, "You guys stop making fun of our manager the way he speaks," all right, that means they're backing him up. No, they didn't. They were okay to let everybody laugh at it the way he spoke, right? I mean, they didn't back him in the market, and they didn't back him in the media. So, guess
Right.
what? Eventually, the players aren't going to listen to him because guess what? The team isn't.
I mean, to be fair though, like you had to ship all that dead weight out. So I mean, whether people want to agree with this or not, we went through a rebuild technically. You know,
They didn't get cleaned out until after he left. They
No,
weren't.
I agree.
They never supported Emery.
But that's part of it too. So it needed a rebuild, and the club didn't trust Emery to do the rebuild. So you know they empowered people like Ozil and Aubameyang and you know, and it's kind of unfortunate for Emery, but you know, I mean he's landed well on his feet, but Emery was the right coach at the wrong time. You know,
But then you have to look at Arteta too. Arteta at first, you're our coach, you're not our manager.
You know what? They backed him. The difference between both of those managers, one actually had had Arsenal on his back, like on his hand, helping him around and supporting him. The other one said, "We'll let you just go by yourself." That's the difference. They were willing
But
to
he's
wait
done
for
some stupid shit though, and
to
he's done
do
some
what
dumb shit like bringing in Willian and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And he was the one that signed off on Aubameyang. He's like, you know, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm getting at? That's, you know, they all do some dumb shit. That's, you know what I mean?
It's just that Arteta's doing it in Dad's Ferrari, as opposed to Dad's Toyota Corolla. You know what I mean?
Well,
that's the problem,
Yeah, what way to learn?
Taking your driving lessons. He's driving fast, man. The man's changing wheels going 100 miles per hour sometimes, and you can't do that. Can't do that. You gotta take that's what he's doing. So I think, we're sitting here on 90 minutes. Mr. Tom, you got anything you want to say before we get out of here?
What about your holiday crisps?
What about your holiday crisps? That's why I'm talking to Mr. Tom to see if he has anything he wants to say.
Crisps.
I didn't know that Tony answered to Mr. Tom as well as Sir Tony.
We're learning a lot tonight, Tom. It's okay.
He's a busy boy, clearly. Right.
You should change your name to Sir Tom.
I'm not sure I've been nice. I don't think I have that distinction with respect, sir. But okay. All right.
What we got going on here?
All right, Gary.
Yeah.
Roll it.
All right, just a second, people. It's because this is my favorite part of the show. I can't get enough of that video.
What was wrong with that bag at the end there? What's going on?
That was India's magic masala. It tasted like shit.
The best thing is like Tom sitting there for fucking 15 seconds.
Yeah. We get it. Yeah, Tony, the master of telling you when he's heard you say the same thing twice. I have nightmares of Tony going, I can't wait till you to open that bag. Yeah, because I didn't want India's magic masala all over me. Clearly.
What? Don't you have a pair of scissors?
You look like you'd beaten into a chunk of uranium.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, Stan. The part of it that made it worse was that it actually smelled like Thai sweet chili, which is a universally loved flavour. It fooled me. It hoodwinked me because it didn't taste like Thai sweet chili.
Can I just say, as we're talking about crisps and being an English person and knowing crisps in England and now living in North America, the selection over here, when I go, we have Safeways. It's really bad. It's terrible.
Yeah, but it's because it's all owned by one company.
I regularly buy ready salted crisps because they're so bad. Ready fucking salted crisps. That's what I've become.
You don't like Doritos?
Too bad.
It's because it's all.
He likes Funyuns, so he's got
It's all owned by Frito-Lay.
So what does that mean?
No. What Stan's saying?
No
It's not
selection.
the
You just
same.
got one company.
It's not the
As a
same. Yes,
kid,
an authentic British crisp.
as a kid, you had all kinds of selection here. Now you don't have shit.
Right.
What I would do for
So-
a bag of frazzles.
Ooh, frazzles. Right. So this week, last week we went for a starter with the pigs in blankets. Not good. Not good. Anyway, so this week we have festive turkey.
Oh my gosh, that does not sound right. That doesn't
Tom's
sound
gonna
right at
die.
all. Like
Don't eat it, Tom.
you know what?
Yeah.
If you gotta get a chip, make sure the flavor sounds right.
You
don't
can
get
try
shit
it
like
with
that
a
in
small
Canada.
bag.
I don't get
Are
shit
you
like
sure?
that at all.
Look at
What?
Tom. He's starting out with a tiny bag.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it comes. It's just 5 bags.
Family pack, Tony.
Exactly. I
Okay.
don't know what to tell you, Tony. It smells a bit like their standard chicken, but they've also like tried to make you think, oh, it smells a bit like stuffing as well. But we'll see.
Sage and onion.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. It's not as bad as that awful bacon shit from last week.
You
Tom's
probably
at
should-
about his 8 crisp per minute ratio, so you know it's a pretty good chip.
Yeah, not bad.
So here's the problem, Tom. I think last week with the pigs in the blanket, you should have put syrup on it. That probably was the missing ingredient. It was probably on the instructions in the back.
Syrup.
Syrup on crisp.
Yeah.
I mean, damn, Spencer, is that how you guys eat them?
No, I'm just saying it's a pigs in the blanket. You got to get the authentic taste.
Tell you now, I'll be very surprised if I like next week's one. I'd be very
I
surprised.
used to bring my own lunch in grade school when I knew we were to have pigs in a blanket because they were horrible.
Don't tell me. We've had the starter and the main course. Next week you'll have what? Mince pies, pied flavoured crisps, or some shit.
Similar.
Similar.
Christmas pudding.
Similar.
That's what it's going to be.
Put a pin in that. Okay.
Are we gonna have blood pudding crisp?
Okay. We're going to grade that as 600,000 out of 812,000. It's all right. It's all right. We've had a lot worse. Well, we had one that nearly killed me. But anyway, I might as well do the question of the week while I've got you all captive. Last season, sorry, it happened last season, but who had the lowest percentage of possession for a team that won a Premier League match ever?
I feel like I've heard this one before.
Yeah, I feel like it's
Who you said who had it?
Yeah, which team has the lowest percentage of possession for a team that won in a Premier League match? And it happened last season, rather.
Was the score 1-0 to that team?
It may have been. It may have been.
Burnley.
Who is it? But bugging.
No, they weren't in the Premier League.
All right, no may have been about it. It was 1-0. I believe it was 1-0.
Was it
I
Everton?
can't think of it.
You'll
Is
kick
it a team
yourself.
that came up? No, it's not a team that came up.
Oh, no, it is. It may have been. It is.
Okay.
This year?
No, last
No,
season.
last season.
Mhm.
I can't remember who came up.
I can't either. Well, let's think about this here.
He came up last season. That's the starting thing. Burnley.
Forest came up. And then
Forest came up.
Bournemouth came up. It's probably Bournemouth.
Bournemouth.
Fulham also came up.
Oh, that's the answer. Fulham.
No,
Is
it's
it the
Bournemouth.
answer? Is it the answer? Wrong. Incorrect. It was neither Bournemouth or Fulham.
Brownie,
Forest.
welcome to the show.
It was Forest in their 1-0 win over Arsenal.
I knew something was bugging me there.
That's why Tom said we'd be kicking ourselves.
You should have said right back Thomas Partey, and that would have given it away.
Cool. All right, Mr. Tom, tell the people.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. So have a good night, everyone. Have a good week until we all see you next. And I have no spiel. Just don't be afraid to talk to anyone if you need support and things like that. But make sure that person isn't me.
There you go.
Have a good night.
Or me.
Spencer, say bye to the people.
Goodbye to the people. You can find me here on Mondays and sometimes on Saturdays, and then I'm with Gooner Gathering on whenever they need help. YouTube channel is Bronco and VA 9986. Yeah, let's go win a meaningless game tomorrow, I guess, right? I don't see what happens.
You want us to go strong in a meaningless game. You can't.
I didn't.
You did. You said we should go strong.
I did not say we're going to go strong. I said I have a feeling we're going to go strong based on the fact of how the performance on the weekend went. Yeah. I think we should play kids. I don't think anybody from the regular starting 11
think the performance was bad, and I think, and I'm telling you, if we play that way against most teams, we're not going to not score one goal.
I'm just saying.
No. But you said it wasn't a good performance, and that's why you think they'll play. I'm telling you, it was. I believe it was a good performance because you can build on that. You can't build on the way we played in other games. You know.
I agree with you on that. I'm just giving you what I think Arteta's going to do.
We played a much better team, and we didn't look as bad as we did against Luton Town for sure. Right on the road, right? So
definitely better
defensively. We looked solid there. Offensively, we looked much better. We didn't finish our dinner, which is a problem. But otherwise, that's why I go by performance sometimes because, I don't think they need a break because the performance was bad. The result was bad, but that wasn't because the performance wasn't something you can build on. So that's me. Stan. And before I say anything, for those who don't know, Mr. Tom does have a channel, and usually on Wednesdays he has a show. So you check him out on that. Is it Full Nelson? And then on the weekends he's got what is it? We All Love Leeds. So check him out. And Stan, as you can see right there, the Gooner Shack at Etsy. The man's selling some good products. Check it out.
Yeah, go there, buy loads of shit so that I can go to an all-inclusive in Mexico for Christmas. Thank you.
Yes. Stan wants to put his feet up. He wants a coconut drink with the umbrella. 2 umbrellas.
Exactly.
You can make a pit stop in Oklahoma along your way.
He's not going to Oklahoma if he's on his way to a resort. He'll never make it there. Stan, I'm telling you, don't go.
Skip Oklahoma.
No.
Skip Oklahoma.
Fly
over Oklahoma and wave. Yeah. Go, Tony, Sir Tony. Sorry, can't make it. Going to the beach.
Have him meet you in Texas. It's a better state. I'm just kidding.
All right, Tony.
Just get started with Texas.
Sir Tony, tell people bye.
And goodbye, people. Saturday, miss being there with Tom at Hillgood. Wasn't there to gloat about my win. But anyway, everybody have a good week.
Cool.
And what did you win at, Tony?
I won our prediction.
Oh, did he?
He did?
Oh, cool. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
I got 6 out of 7, Gary.
I got 2 out of 7.
You. Damn, I didn't even check, so I assume I did bad. But
you did not.
I did not. Great. Did I do 5 out of 7?
I believe that was correct. Yeah.
Cool. I'll take that. Everyone, thank you for joining us. We'll be back next Monday. We'll do this again. Arsenal will have played 2 games by then. Hopefully the 2 wins, but hopefully a Brighton win is really the one thing we want to get. We'll do this again. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully, Arsenal must fit. You come back to us. We'll be here, and we'll check you out. Check everybody else out. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Life is a journey. Don't waste your trip. Enjoy the ride. There you go.
And we're out. Oh, I didn't hit the end button. Sorry. We'll do it now.